Hey, 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 scrappy people. It's Tracy Reed here today with day 10 in my December daily album. And day 10 is the day that we visited Santa. So, my husband and I took my youngest, which is the only one that still believes, to see Santa in the mall. And I had a few photos in here, and I was feeling a little bit blah about being a little bit repetitive in my album, I suppose, about doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I decided to include a flip out, which is sort of repetitive. I do keep including flip outs, but I decided to include one on the non-ring side of my page, and it flips outward. And I think I'll show you. Yep, there you go. It flips outward, and I adore it. So I picked that acetate card that says Dear Santa, and I put the numbers 10 on it, and it sits right over that photo of Finn and I that is a 4x6 that I cut in half, actually, and put into 3x4 pockets. And it is just such a cool little addition to my album. I really sort of love it. And one of the other cards is the reverse side of the acetate from my last spread. And so it kind of gives that sort of repetition that makes the spread really fun. So in addition to that acetate, I'm going to add a lot more acetate because I'm just going to go for it, you guys. So I was just picking out a 4x6 card that I knew that was in the Simple Stories collection. That is, it says making a list. And since we are going to see Santa, I decided to include some of Finn's Christmas wish list on that making a list card on the back of the Santa photo. So I just adhered it to the back side of that. And now I'm getting ready to work on the spread. So I got out those circle punches because initially I was like, well, I need to add a circle to the back of that acetate card to match, but I decided instead to include some chipboard and just use the circle as it was, the one that's on the other side. And I'm just going to adhere some chipboard over that middle of that circle and call that card good. I really actually like that. And even though I hate having the reverse of see-through embellishments on, you know, the backwardsness of them, I actually have it going on in 2 cards today, so be very proud that I'm bursting my own little bubble there and going with the flow. So I pulled out a bunch of acetate that I had, a bunch of acetate die cuts that I have, and I'm not sure what they're from. They're from an older December Daily kit that I got, and they're not in packaging anymore. But I pulled out a ton of these gold foil acetate to match the gold foil acetate reindeer card right there. And I'm just going to have at it. And I'm going to go buck wild, and I'm going to put all this acetate everywhere. And so everything is gold foil acetate except for I have one string of Christmas lights that's black with color. And I'm just going to layer it all together, and I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere these down. And I'm just going to go card by card and just start gluing this down. And I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. This video is sort of short because I do get rid of all of this gluing. But I am going to show you, I take this circular snowflake one and I adhere it to the edge, and then I cut it, the excess off, and glue the other side to the other edge. That photo had a lot of background that I didn't love, so I was just trying to cover a little bit of it up. And then I'm going to use this acetate piece, actually a couple of acetate pieces, to span both of these cards. And I'm going to glue them down together and let it dry a little bit, and then I will cut them apart. So I really like how simple this spread ended up being. but it looks, I mean, it was simple to do, but it definitely isn't a simple spread when you look at it. And I kind of love that. I love it when ideas come together and you just bang out the layout and it's just super fast. But then you also get that sort of creative high out of it too, because you really like the way it came together. So I'm just looking through some of my gems and buttons that I had pulled out here just to add a little bit of texture to this spread. And I'm going to use a couple buttons, and initially I put them directly on the photo, but when I put them in the pocket, I didn't love how much it made the pocket stick out, so then I took them off and put them on the outside of the pocket. And now I'm going to take all of these little tiny red gems that were from the Cocoa Daisy November collection, and I'm just going to decorate a few of these cards, kind of give it like a glittery, sparkly effect, like a almost magical. And I am nearly done with this spread once I do this. Santa needs some bling. I was going to add a little bit more, but I think I'm about done here. Okay, so now I need to put all of these back in the pocket, but first I'm going to add my little paper strip to punch my holes in like I've been doing this whole album. So I'm going to trim this down to a well, it's not 4x6, but it's 6 inches tall. And I'm just going to sandwich this paper right in between the two layers, the photo layer and the card layer. And I've got all these back in the pocket now, and you can see that I have a spot open for a card, and I have these Mad for Plaid, I believe that's what it's called, cards, and a lot of them are really cute Santa themed. So I loved that Santa sitting in his throne, but it was too repetitive with the Santa sitting next to it. So I'm going to use this Hello Santa card. And get that in there. Getting close to done here. Take out these extra ones so that we're not confused as to what is part of the spread. Don't want to have that repetitive believe there. So I have these tabs that I'm going to use. I initially was going to use a couple of tabs. I was going to put them on the flip out and on the Santa photo, but I didn't love the way that it looked on the Santa photo. So I'm just going to put them on the flip out instead, something to easily flip it with. And I'm going to glue them. I'm initially going to put them down with tape runner, and then I'm just going to go ahead and staple them together once that's done. And there we go. Get that stapler out. We are getting really close to done with this spread. Need to trim off that tab a little bit where they didn't align. There we go. Now I need to add my journaling to the back of this card, which I'm just going to pull directly from Finn's Christmas list and sort of put things in order of what he wants, but I think he's just a little bit going buck wild on his Christmas list and there's no particular order. There we go. And I need a couple of word strips, ho 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 on that side. And then on this side, I initially was looking at this naughty or nice label, but I changed my mind. I didn't really, it was too long for the tab and I didn't want to add anything else to the photos. So I'm looking for a shorter word strip here. And there we go. Trim off this excess acetate piece. And we are good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I do December Daily, Project Life, Traveler's Notebooks, and 12 by 12 pages, so you will always be inspired. All right, thank you.